Good morning, student. My name is Shivam Mishra, and we are here to discuss the newspaper analysis of the Hindu. The date is 14 January 2026. Let's get to understand the topics which has been mentioned in the today's newspaper. First topic is Supreme Court inclusion of disabled on disadvantage. The Supreme Court emphasized the inclusion of person with disabilities as a strategic advantage for business, enhancing performance, resilience, and social impact rather than just a compliance issue. The article says that the adoption or inclusion of person with disabilities should not be included not only because of the compliance issues, it should be taking care of other important aspects like business, enhance the performance, resilience, and social impact also. The judge was co-authored by Justice J.B. Pardiwala and K.V. Vishwanathan, marking the second instance in 2 months where the court highlighted the constitutional duty of corporations to contribute to society and environment. Thus, overall social development is ensured. More inclusive. On January 14, 2026, Supreme Court used its extraordinary constitutional powers under Article 142 to direct Coal India Limited to provide Sujata Bora, a person with multiple disabilities, a supernumerary post with separate desk and specially designed computer at its northeastern coal field in Assam. This is all about the news. Next topic is India's AI focus and environment impact. That is AI with environment. The article discusses the environmental impact of artificial intelligence, highlighting the concerns about carbon footprint and contributing to climate change. And OECD, Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, this is a body report estimate that global ICT industry responsibility for 1.8% to 2.8% of global greenhouse emission. 1.8 to 2.8% of greenhouse gas emission. This is a report by OECD which we can use while writing the mains answer. It has become a debatable topics like which estimates also it can increase to 3.9% in coming future. A Google report from August 2025 claims a single AI text prompt uses 0.24 watt plus hours of electricity. But this has been criticized for being a misleading. A UNEP note from September 2024 states AI server may use 4.2 to 6.6 billion cubic meter of water by 2027, thus causing a water scarcity. One is water scarcity, another problem is energy, other is greenhouse gas emission. This is a three point which has been discussed. Recently, the training a single large model LLM, that is considered large language model, a 3 lakh kilograms of carbon emissions has been a one LLM needs 3 lakh kg of carbon emission. This is data which is like ChatGPT's energy consumption is 10 times that of a Google search. So UNESCO 2021 recommendation on the ethics of artificial intelligence highlights AI's negative societal and environmental impact. Artificial Intelligence Environmental Impact Act AI Environment Act 2024 and plus EU's harmonize AI rules to address these issues. This has been a legislation in EU and US. These are the proposed legislation. Till now, they have not been formed. Thus, these are the proposed legislation to balance between the AI and environment sustainability. India needs to recognize AI's environmental cost, focusing on measuring these impacts through environmental impact assessment as per the EIE notification. This could include assessing AI algorithm development impacts involving stakeholders like tech companies and NGOs, data collection using sustainability matrices and other sustainable reporting directives and corporate sustainable reporting directives, ESG disclosure, integrating AI's environmental impact, that these are the solutions to the sustainability matrices. AI sustainable practices like deploying pre-trained models using renewable energy, thus solving the energy issue, and using renewable energy for data centers and reporting AI specific estimates can mitigate environmental impacts. Focus should be including AI in global sustainability and environmental consideration. So, this is the article is all about. Let's get to the next topic. Next topic is India's small towns becoming urbanized. India's urban future is often discussed in terms of mega cities, but a significant transformation is occurring with the rise of small towns. Small towns being urbanized. Of nearly 9,000 census and statutory towns, only about 500 are large cities, with majority being small towns and population under the 1 lakh. The proliferation of small towns is linked to India's capitalist development. And crisis, as a large cities have become over accumulated with high land prices. Land prices are very high and increasing day by day, stretched infrastructure, and rising cost of living. This has led to emergence of small towns as a logistic nodes, agro processing hubs, and service centers. The example of such towns include like Satyanapalli in Andhra Pradesh, Dhamatri, Dhamtari in Chhattisgarh, Barabanki in Uttar Pradesh, Barabanki. These are the small towns which are being urbanized, and there has been witness a land price increase, stretched infrastructures, rising cost, increasing of agri hubs, especially the food processing industry. So, and logistic nodes and service centers, especially. So, these towns absorb migrant workers and rural youths, offering cheaper land and pliable labor. Despite their growth, small towns do not inherently promise inclusive growth, but rather urbanization of rural poverty. This has been witnessed. Urbanization, which is urbanization of rural society, which is considered as Rurbanization, where the rural society is adopting the urban practices. Like informal labor dominates with construction workers, women in home based work, youth in platform economics facing insecurity. Policy failures are evident as India's urban missions like Amrut, Amrut missions for rejuvenations and transformation of urban bodies or urban infrastructure, the metro centrics, including small towns with significant infrastructure investments. This results in tanker economies, indiscriminate groundwater mining, and ecological stress. This governance in small towns is weak. The article discusses that the main bone of contention is that the governance of the small towns, because of the large influx of migrations, workers from different parts of the areas coming at the point of place to gain the employment activities to earn the livelihood, and thus the governance need to be maintained in, otherwise there will be chaos. The land prices should be controlled, the infrastructure should be planned, rising cost of living should be checked so that inflation could not go beyond, and especially the people who are locals here should be also protected. To address these issues, small towns must be politically recognized as a key to India's urban in future. Planning should be integrated housing, livelihood, transport, ecology. These are the solutions has been given. Like we need integrated housing, livelihood for locals and others also of the migrant workers, transport development, environment, sustainable infrastructure, and overall governance mechanism or law and order of the areas. Regulation of platform economies and digital infrastructure is necessary to ensure labor rights, local value retention, and data accountability. This is what this article discusses about. Let's get to the next topic. There was an article regarding the General Dwivedi. He is actually a army chief and he has discussed about India-China border issue. That is, he asked for more security and more like dedication rocket missile force at the LACs so that the border could be protected in case there is any kind of situations, especially on the position on Shaksgam Valley. He also discussed re, uh, about the deployments of missiles like Pinaka rocket system, Pralay, BrahMos. These have been mentioned in the news. Please, I would suggest, please go and read from the static notes of yours where the information about these rockets and all BrahMos missiles have been given, so that you can get a brief of this what the rockets are, what of what use, and what are the aim of these missiles and rockets. So please, I would suggest go and read about this from the sources, from your notes, static notes, or you can also read it from the Google. Next topic is news is delivery delivery platforms like Blinkit, Septo, or Zomato, Swiggy. They have decided to remove 10-minute delivery, 10-minute delivery systems after the Union Labour Minister Mansukh Mandaviya's interventions. Gig platform workers went on a strike in December 31 demanding the end of 10-minute delivery due to accidents and health issues. Mr. Mandavia raises the issue with aggregators, leading Blinkit to remove the 10 minutes delivery promise from its branding, with others expected to follow. The change aims to ensure greater safety of the workers, security, improved working condition. Gig workers actually are temporary workers. They work basis on the hours and they do not have any kind of permanent time or days. So there was discontinuation of 10 to 20 minutes delivery mandates, and AAP MP Raghav Chadha and BJP MP Praveen Khandelwal expressed gratitude at the central government for removing the 10 minutes delivery branding. Let's get to the next news. The title of next article is the government seeking phone source code. Source code. This is actually a code from where the updates have been given to the mobile phones. Recently, government has reported by reuters to be considering a requirement for smartphone makers to disclose their source code. It is actually a core repository of software programs and digital assets that drive a digital system. It is kept secret for commercial and security reasons as it exposes can lead to cyber attacks and data breaches. Disclosing source code is unusual outside sensitive fields like defense. Recently, Chinese government has asked Apple to disclose its source code, but despite specific policies for user data access in China, they did not disclose the source code. The controversy follow a recent backlash against the Department of Telecommunication because they have recently asked the companies, mobile phone companies, to pre-install the Sanchar Sathi app in the mobile phones, thus which raises a concern about potential snooping and security threats. Source code disclosure would be more intrusive. Exposing the entire code based on third parties increases the risk of cyber vulnerability and being exploited. In 2023, Center for Climate, National Center for Communication Security. This is a body under the Department of Telecommunication finalized the Indian Telecom Security Assurance Requirement ITSAR for consumer equipment. This is a part of mandatory testing and certification of telecommunication equipment. MTC framework is based on Indian Telegraph Act 2017 and Telecommunication Act 2023, and thus Ministry of Electronics recently decided to eliminate the MTCD regime. The Internet Freedom Foundation, this is actually one of the NGO or civil society which we can mention. Internet Freedom Foundation, there we have got separate topics of NGOs and civil societies in the mains examination, so we can use these kind of organizations to tackle the recent attacks of cyber attacks and security regions or data breaches. So in the government it has recently raised the concerns of being more lack of transparency in government meetings and called that consultation on ITSAR. ITSAR means Indian Telecom Security Research Assurance Requirement, emphasizing the need for transparency and open public consultations. Let's get to the next topic. Recently, the Trump's Iran tariff threat, which is US has asked that if the country will do trade with Iran, they will be charged with 25% of tariff. So article discuss what would be the impact on India. The article says that it will have the minimal impact on India because the deals or the trades have been declining with Iran since 2019 due to US sanctions. Trump tariff threat, which was announced in January 13, 2026, is a response to Iran's crackdown on protesters and could temporarily affect sectors like rice, tea, fresh fruits, and essential oils. Historically, India has reduced trade with Iran. It has reduced trade with Iran in response to US sanctions, and experts suggest that while some sectors might experience short term pain, alternatives can be found due to Iran's small trade shares. Federation of Indian Export Organization. This is an organization noted that most Indian export to Iran are humanitarian products, which might not be considered as doing business under US sanctions, minimizing the tariff's impact on India. Iran accounted for 0.26%. Iran in with India's total export, it considered only 0.26% of total export, and thus a decrease from 1.1% in financial year 2020, with basmati rice comprising 61%, and out of that 61% consider of basmati rice. Of course, they must be eating biryani. So if India stops exporting the Iran, basmati rice export could be affected as they constitute 13.1% of the India's total basmati rice export, along with tea, essential oils, and fresh fruits. This has also been a, a product of export: tea, fruits, essential oils, and rice, especially. Thus, in Iran's share in India's total export was 2.7% in 2017, dropping to 0.4%. Thus, Iran's share in India's total imports has dropped to 0.04%, significant decline in trade relations over the years. Thus, the Trump's tariff plan would of course it will be affecting India's export, but it will have very minimal effect. Recently, Kerala has introduced the Malayalam language bill in its legislature, thus making the Malayalam as a state language. It has also protected the minority language like Kannada and Tamil. The students who are like the students of other states or foreign countries, they have been exempted for writing the examinations of class 9th, 10th, and higher secondary educations. Thus, it is have been a step has been taken to promote the Malayalam language, and all the official activities of Kerala will be held in Malayalam language. Earlier, the bill was came into light 10 years ago, but center was not giving the clearance. When the Supreme Court decision that bills cannot be indefinitely delayed, the center and several states have policies to promote all India language, and so the centers has given the permission. Recently, mechanism like interstate council, which has been inactive, should be empowered to facilitate good faith conversations, and also there should be protection of other languages in a territory of those area. The article discussed these things in the newspaper. Next one is this article discuss about the edible insects. Like the article discussed the cultural and psychological barriers to accepting the insect based food. Means insect will be acting as a food. Despite their nutritional and environmental benefits, the article suggests that, that it has environmental and nutritional benefits. It highlights how urbanization has distanced people from traditional practices like entomophagy, that making insects as a food, which is common in part of northeast of the India. At Food Mela in Bengaluru, visitors were introduced to insect-based food like cricket cookies, fried silkworm, and most of them, like 60% of the people, were trying for the first time. Insects are highlighted as a sustainable protein source. Sustainable protein source, requiring less land, less water, less feed compared to conventional livestock. They offer a high edible body mass percentage, like edible body mass percentage like 80% approx compared to 55% in poultry. They also required less food to sustain water and land, making them efficient in terms of production also. Despite its benefit, urban population are moving away from the insect consumptions, viewing it as an indigenous and not fitting into the modern food cultures. This disconnect is partly due to the class perception and the framing of insect eating as a rural background or the backward section of the people. The article notes that in regions where insect consumption is traditional, these foods are neither novel nor marginal but are tied to specific occasions and generations. Visitors at the stall recognize need to overcome this stereotype and experiment more, acknowledging the sustainability and insect-based foods. However, the question about sufficiency and substitutions, that has been a challenge. It is also a challenge of assumption and hierarchies about the food. Like it emphasized the importance of farm and familiarity in making the insects-based foods more acceptable. The next news is PFRDA. This is a body which covers the insurance sector in India. All regulations, rules, and regulations have been controlled by the PFRDA. It has recently established an expert committee to pay to assure the payouts under the NPS, new pension scheme, national pension schemes. Okay, the committee tasks include defining lack-in periods, withdrawal limits, pricing mechanism, and fee structure, as well as developing standardized procedure to prevent mis-selling and meet subscribers' inspections regarding insurance. India actually planned for insurance for all. This is an aim of the India's insurance sectors where each and every citizen should get insurance. Recently, India's uh, cut off making a 0% GST on insurance sectors, thus overall giving boost to the insurance sectors, and the people are getting the insurance of different kinds. We have the motor insurance, we have the life insurance. These are types of insurance which is provided by the agencies and other market corporations. Recently, there is Nipah virus is in news. Recently, some cases has been seen in West Bengal's host is bat. Bad is a host of Nipah virus, and there are uh, many peoples have been affected in the area of Bengal and adjacent areas like North 24 Parganas. And the West Bengal Chief Secretary Nandini Chakraborty emphasized not to panic but to stay alert. These viruses, of course, has uh, a tendency had a can affect the people in and have more kind of things which can be spread in the areas where the population density is very much. So this, please, if this comes into the use, please read the static portion of it from the notes or anywheres. You can also read from the Google things. This is all about the today's news analysis. Thank you for watching.